Hello guys, welcome back to our anime explainer. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of upcoming episode of Renegade Immortal based on novel. So let's start. Sima Yang gritted his teeth and shouted, "Scatter." This word in the army camp was absolute. The surrounding 9,000 demon soldiers quickly retreated. With the siege gone, the formation naturally disappeared as well. Just at this moment, a bloody light appeared at the center of the army camp, and the steward of the army's skinny figure slowly appeared. He didn't come alone. Behind him was an old man wearing linen cloth. He stood there with his hair flowing in the air, and everything around him seemed to move with him. At the moment the old man appeared, Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes. His gaze pierced through the demon soldiers, and landed directly on the old man. The old man's eyes also narrowed and looked toward Wang Lin. The two people's gazes met and Wang Lin's heart trembled for a moment, but quickly recovered. Wang Lin saw 4 seals inside that old man. The old man's body also trembled, and his eyes shined brightly. He was even more shocked that one gaze from Wang Lin had almost caused the seals inside his body to collapse. After the steward of the army appeared, he took one step and teleported instantly to a spot a few dozen feet from Wang Lin. The old man did the same. The steward's skinny face didn't change at all when he saw the bodies on the ground. Sima Yang quickly said, "Lord Steward of the army, the commander killed regiment leader's son, without reason, and also killed over 500 demon soldiers. All of this was witnessed by everyone here." Wang Lin waved his right hand and a piece of jade flew toward the steward. The steward looked down at it as he injected demonic spiritual energy into the jade and the various images appeared in his head. Those images were of what just happened. The steward looked at Wang Lin with a profound look. His earlier underestimation of Wang Lin completely disappeared, and was instead replaced with the intent to make friends. Wang Lin's action took the initiative, and placed himself in a situation where he couldn't lose. He revealed a faint smile and said, "Sorry for bothering you, Commander Wang. I'll report this matter to the Lord General. Those who dared to revolt deserved this." As he spoke, he clasped his hands and smiled as he left. The old man also clasped his hands and said, "Commander Wang's cultivation is amazing, I'm impressed." After the two of them left, Sima Yang silently pondered for a long time, before he respectfully said to Wang Lin, "I was reckless on this matter. I hope the commander won't take offense." After he said those words, several of the regiment leaders' eyes revealed mysterious lights. One of them immediately stood out and respectfully said to Wang Lin, "This subordinate was also reckless on this matter." Shortly after, all of the regiment leaders said the same thing. The outcome of this matter was decided from the beginning. The people here weren't stupid, and had already seen through Wang Lin's methods. Everything was fine when this newly appointed commander didn't do anything, but when he did, he moved like lightning. If this infighting continued, perhaps something like what happened to regiment leader's son would happen again. Also, looking at the new commander's cultivation, it looked like even if Sima Yang acted, he wouldn't be a match either. With that in mind, a lot of people began to think of compromising. Wang Lin stood up and pressed the ground with his right hand. A series of rumblings suddenly came from the ground under the army camp, as if there were raging dragons moving below. At this moment, the ground of the entire army camp sank by 1 inch. The extra dirt quickly raised up under Wang Lin's feet. Dust filled the air as if it covered the entire world. In almost an instant, a pagoda made from dirt appeared in the army camp. This was a 2-story pagoda. Although it was plain, it gave off a sense of majesty. With a single wave of his hand, Wang Lin was able to take inches of dirt from the entire army camp to make this pagoda. This not only shocked Sima Yang and the regiment leaders, but also all 9,000 demon soldiers. "All of you can leave." After leaving that sentence, Wang Lin turned around and walked into the pagoda. 13 quickly followed. As for Hu Pao, he sneered as he looked around before following Wang Lin into the pagoda as well. His heart felt very good, because all the pent-up anger from half a month was vented today. His reverence toward Wang Lin became even stronger. After Wang Lin's group of 3 entered the pagoda, Sima Yang clenched his fist, turned around, and left without a word. As for the 9 regiment leaders, they all looked at each other. They all made a decision and each left with their respective regiments. From this day on, of the 8 regiment leaders that were close to Sima Yang, aside from regiment leader Sun, who died, only 3 of them kept their close relationship, while the other 4 slowly drew their distance from Sima Yang. From that day onward, Wang Lin's figure became very clear in all the soldiers' minds. Ever since Wang Lin became the commander, he hadn't issued one order, but his majesty was gradually growing with blood. In ancient Demon City, there was a total of 16 military camps. They all wore black armor, and only their markings were slightly different. Right now in the 3rd Army camp, Yao Shishue was silently cultivating inside a house. Late at night, Yao Shishue opened her eyes. Her beautiful eyes were shining brightly. Outside the window, the moon of the demon spirit land gave off a purple glow. Tonight was the semi-annual rise of the purple demon. Rumor has that when the purple demon rises, the heavens and earth connect. As for exactly how it works, no one knows. This rumor came from ancient times, and no one was able to explain it clearly. She took a deep breath and stood up. After checking her surroundings with her divine sense, she touched her bag of holding and a red compass immediately appeared in her hand. Looking at the compass, she revealed a look of hesitation. I have gone to that place 3 times, and every time, I was stopped at the same spot. Daddy said that to enter that place, my cultivation must first reach the ascendant stage. According to Dad's plan, I'll stay here until I absorb enough demonic spiritual energy to break through to the ascendant stage before going to that place, and with the help of the blood soul pills, I have an 80% chance of breaking through. However, that token unexpectedly appeared during the tide phase. Yao Shishue's beautiful eyebrows furrowed as she pondered with the compass in her hand. When Father, the All-Seer, and company came here many years ago, they learned of this place from one of the demon emperors. Last time, he didn't have time to check the place and went deep into the demon spirit land with everyone else. After analyzing the information for years, he is 60% confident that that place is real. Forget it, I'll go one more time. If I still can't enter, I'll have to wait until I reach the ascendant stage. After all, I have already used 3 of the blood soul pills Father created the last 3 times. Now I only have 6 pills left. I still have to be here for a very long time, so it is best not to waste them. 1 blood soul pill is another life. Yao Shishue revealed a determined look. She was already a beauty, and now that she had this determination in her eyes, she looked very heroic and very alluring. She softly placed the compass on the ground and then touched her bag of holding once more, and a wax pill immediately appeared in her hand. There were rows of small symbols on this small, wax pill. The symbols slowly flashed like they were matching the frequency of someone's breathing and heartbeat. It looked extremely strange. Yao Shishue took a deep breath and crushed the wax pill, then a drop of blue blood quickly appeared. The wax pill was sealing this drop of blue blood. She didn't hesitate at all as she bit her finger, squeezed out some blood, and drew a complicated symbol in the air. After the symbol appeared, it quickly fused with the drop of blue blood. Yao Shishue grabbed the symbol and pressed it between her eyebrows. She revealed an expression of pain that slowly disappeared after a long time. As she gasped for breath, she lifted her finger, and then the symbol immediately flew back out, turned back into the drop of blue blood, and floated in the air. She waved her right hand and the drop of blue blood immediately disappeared without a trace. Then she clenched her teeth, took a step, and stepped on the compass on the ground. With a flash of gentle light, a large amount of symbols appeared from the compass and surrounded the room. All of this lasted for 3 breaths of time. After 3 breaths of time, Yao Shishue disappeared along with the compass. Time slowly passed by. Wang Lin's lifestyle didn't change from before. He rarely left his room and spent all day cultivating. He was slowly fusing the demonic spiritual energy with his celestial spiritual energy, and striving toward the late stage of soul transformation. There was one thing that was very true about this world. One of the main reasons why the kings of the mortal world were so dignified, and were respected by the ministers, was because their distance from everyone made them so mysterious. In the eyes of the ministers, the king, who was high above them, was an unreachable existence whose mind was unfathomable, and this gave the kings their majesty. At this moment, Wang Lin was like this inside the Black Armor army camp. He rarely showed his face, but his majesty slowly spread day by day until it completely suppressed Sima Yang, who often appeared. In these past few months, Hu Pao was like a fish in water inside the army camp. His personality has always been outgoing, and although there were some issues at the start, those slowly disappeared as time went by. His contact with the teams inside the army gradually increased as time went on. This was especially true for a team leader named Xu Yu. This person was a woman, and the moment he saw her, he was shocked. Ever since then, he has been in love with her. On the opposite side, 13 sat in the pagoda, cultivating all day like a gatekeeper. He showed indifference to anyone besides Wang Lin. Several months later, in the third army camp, inside Yao Shishua's room, there was a flash of blue light. Soon, the blue light turned into blue symbols. These blue symbols quickly rotated with a drop of blue blood at the center. This drop of blue blood continued to churn like it was boiling, and the boiling gradually became even more intense. The drop of blue blood suddenly grew several times larger, and became a giant ball of blue blood. The surrounding symbols rotated even faster. After a while, the symbols suddenly stopped as if something was calling them. They all flew toward the ball of blue blood and flew into it. When the last symbol entered it, the ball of blue blood quickly shrunk. It didn't shrink all the way back into a drop of blood, but into the shape of a beautiful body. This process didn't last long, and was finished in about 5 breaths of time. The blue ball of blood disappeared and was replaced by a female body. This woman was very beautiful with curves in all the right places. Her captivating, curvy body was perfect. She was Yao Shishua. I failed again. If it wasn't for the blood soul pills, I would have died 4 times. But this time, I broke through more than half of it. If there was something there to help me, I would have definitely succeeded. Yao Shishua opened her eyes and sighed. However, she soon narrowed her eyes and began to ponder. If there was someone to help me. Wang Lin. There are 2 more cultivators in ancient demon city besides me. Among the 2, one of them is only at the early stage of soul transformation, so they can't help much. Only this Wang Lin, who can endure up to the demon general's 7th punch, should be powerful enough. Only his personality is cold, so without any reward, I'm afraid it will be very difficult to get him to help me. Yaoi Shishua pondered a bit and then waved her hand before her. A white light covered her naked body, and she was soon hidden behind a white dress. Time passed by. Wang Lin continued to cultivate inside the Black Armor army camp. After absorbing the demonic spiritual energy of more than 500 demon soldiers and regiment leader Sun, the demon crystal in his body broke past 1,000 ranks when he finally fused them all. Absorbing demonic spiritual energy with a 1,000+ rank demon crystal was several times faster than before. Wang Lin didn't care about any of the matters in the military camp. He spent all his time absorbing demonic spiritual energy to prepare for breaking into the late stage of soul transformation. On this day, Wang Lin was cultivating when he suddenly opened his eyes and his expression fluctuated slightly. Fellow cultivator Wang, tonight at midnight, meet me on the ancient mountain 1,000 kilometers from the army camp. Yao Shishua. Yao Shishua's voice echoed inside Wang Lin's origin soul like a cloud of misty smoke. Wang Lin pondered for a bit before closing his eyes and continuing to cultivate. At midnight on the ancient mountain 1,000 kilometers from the army camp, Yao Shishua stood at the top of the mountain dressed in white and silently waited. Time slowly passed by, and even after the sun gradually appeared over the horizon, Wang Lin still hadn't appeared. Yao Shishua's expression was cold as she let out a cold snort. Then her body turned into a ray of white light, and charged directly at Wang Lin's army camp. She soon arrived outside the army camp, and teleported directly inside. The formation around the camp had no effect on her, after all, she was one of the commanders as well. In the army camp, many demon soldiers were practicing formations under the command of their regiment leaders. Yao Shishue's appearance caught the attention of all the demon soldiers. She moved extremely fast and flew directly toward the pagoda Wang Lin was in. Outside the pagoda, 13 suddenly opened his eyes and stood up. He coldly looked at Yao Shishue, who was flying this way. 13 shouted, "Incomer, stop!" Yao Shishue's expression was as cold as ice. She let out a cold snort and instead of slowing down, she flew even faster toward the pagoda. At this moment, the squad leaders outside didn't hesitate at all to charge toward the pagoda. Behind them, the demon soldiers released their demonic spiritual energy and quickly followed. Seeing Yao Shishu closing in, 13 let out a roar as he took one step forward and threw a punch. Yao Shishue didn't even look at 13 as she pointed at the air. A ray of blood-colored light shot out and surrounded 13, making it look like he was wearing a bloody cloak. 13's entire body froze on the spot like a statue. Just as Yao Shishue was about to step into the pagoda, the 9,000 demon soldiers rushed over. One of the regiment leaders quickly shouted, "Commander Yao, stop." Yao Shishue's face was filled with killing intent, as she waved her jade-like hand behind her and a ray of blood-colored light appeared. The surrounding 1,000 feet were immediately surrounded by this blood-colored light, and the demon soldiers rushing over were blocked outside. "I have private affairs with your Commander Wang, so don't bother us." After saying that, Yao Shishue walked into the pagoda. At the moment she walked into the attic, a gentle breeze blew by. When the breeze landed on her, her expression immediately changed. Her entire body suddenly emitted a blood-colored light that only disappeared when the breeze finished passing. 13's body was also hit by the breeze, and he immediately trembled and regained his ability to move. After hearing Wang Lin's words in his ears, he didn't even look at Yao Shishue before silently sitting back down. Fellow cultivator Yao Shu has a bad temper. Wang Lin's voice slowly came out from the pagoda. There was no indication of joy or anger in his voice. The coldness on Yao Shishue's face was still there as she snorted and said, "My anger can't match fellow cultivator Wang's haughtiness." With that, she walked forward 3 steps, opened the door, and went inside. The windows inside the pagoda were completely sealed, so no light could enter. At the moment the door was opened, a bright ray of sunlight entered the pagoda. Wang Lin was sitting in the lotus position in the darkness, his expression hidden by it. Wang Lin's voice was very cold. "Since you entered this place, if you don't have something that will interest me, don't blame me for ignoring you." He had reached the critical moment of his cultivation, and was planning to go into closed-door cultivation for several months, to refine the demonic spiritual energy inside his body to reach the late stage of soul transformation. Now that he had been interrupted, he naturally wouldn't give her any face. Yao Shishue coldly said, "When I asked you to meet me on the ancient mountain, why didn't you come? Why would I go?" Wang Lin frowned. He had only met this girl twice before. Counting this time, it was only the 3rd time. Yao Shishue was startled. She was filled with anger earlier, so she directly came here. Now that Wang Lin retorted with that question, she didn't know what to say. After pondering a bit, Yao Shishue bowed and said, "This matter was me being reckless, and I hope fellow cultivator Wang won't take offense. I came here because I need fellow cultivator Wang's help with something." "What is it?" Wang Lin's words were brief. He didn't want to waste too much time with her, because right now was a critical moment for refining the demonic spiritual energy in his body. Yao Shishue pointed behind her and the door suddenly closed, then a blood-colored light surrounded the entire pagoda. "This matter is extremely secretive, so I have to be on guard. I hope fellow cultivator Wang won't mind." Right now Yao Shishue needed to ask for help, so she had to suppress her temper. Wang Lin calmly said, "No problem." Yao Shishue pondered a bit and said, "There is a restriction I can't break by myself. If fellow cultivator Wang helps me, once the restriction is broken, I'll definitely have a great reward for you." Wang Lin pondered a bit and slowly said, "Right now I have important matters to deal with, so I can't help you break the restriction. I hope fellow cultivator Yao will forgive me." Forget the fact that he really didn't have time right now. Even if he did have time, he wouldn't agree so easily. After all, he had no relationship with this person, and if she couldn't even break it with her cultivation, then Wang Lin didn't believe he could help much. Also, the most important part was that her words were very vague and obviously left out a lot. As a result, Wang Lin wouldn't help her, and he had no reason to help her. When Yao Shishue decided to ask Wang Lin for help, she already knew that he wouldn't agree so easily, so she didn't give up and said, "Fellow cultivator, Wang's cultivation is at the mid-stage of soul transformation. If you want to reach the late stage of soul transformation, the amount of celestial jades needed is great, and if you wish to step into the ascendant stage, the amount of celestial jades you will need is beyond imagination. This is just for increasing your cultivation level. To have to spend 500 years here, you must have a lot of celestial jades prepared, just to be consumed regularly. As a result, I believe celestial jade is the most important thing to fellow cultivator Wang right now. I wonder if fellow cultivator Wang has enough. If not, I can provide them." Wang Lin opened his eyes and saw that in the dark room, there were two eyes bright as the moon looking at him. He looked at Yao Shishue and asked, "How many can you provide?" Yao Shishue revealed a smile. She wasn't afraid of Wang Lin giving too big of a price, but Wang Lin was not interested at all before. Now that Wang Lin had asked, she was confident she could satisfy him. Yao Shishue calmly said, "I can provide enough for fellow cultivator to reach the early stage of ascendant." Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Yao Shishue's words tempted him. Right now he indeed needed celestial jades. If he had enough, he would have already reached the late stage of soul transformation, and wouldn't have to absorb the demonic spiritual energy he worked so hard to collect. What she said was correct. Although Wang Lin had just enough celestial jades to barely reach the late stage of soul transformation, if he were to use them all up now, if he was ever injured or lost celestial spiritual energy in the remaining 500 years, he would be at a huge disadvantage. He had already considered this before, which was why he still hadn't absorbed energy from any celestial jades. Instead, he gathered demonic spiritual energy to fuse with his celestial spiritual energy. He was saving the celestial jades for last. Wang Lin even made up his mind that once he reaches the peak of the late stage of soul transformation, he was going to lead the demon soldiers outside and ransack every cultivator he met for celestial jades. Yao Shishue quickly said, "How about it? If fellow cultivator Wang agrees, I can give you enough celestial jades to reach the late stage of soul transformation. As for the rest, I'll immediately give them to you once we return." Wang Lin pondered for a long time and asked, "What kind of restriction is it?" "I don't know the name of the restriction, but once it actives, it creates a rotating will restriction with a total of 18 restriction seals. I can only break through to the 11th one, but I believe that with your help, I can break through them all." What Yao Shishue said was mostly true, but there was a very important thing she didn't mention. Breaking this restriction was a matter of life and death. If you break through, you live, but if you fail, you die. She failed 4 times, meaning she had died 4 times and consumed 4 extremely valuable blood soul pills that her father risked his life to obtain. There were only 13 of these pills, and a majority of them were in her hands. Wang Lin pondered a bit, then his eyes narrowed and he asked, "Where is this restriction located?" Yao Shishue pondered a bit and said, "I can't say more until fellow cultivator Wang agrees. I can tell you that it requires a special treasure to enter the place. As of now, there shouldn't be anyone besides me who can enter. Although she concealed a lot from me, celestial jades are extremely important to me right now. If I have enough celestial jades, I can reach the late stage of soul transformation in a short period of time. Although reaching the ascendant stage will require me to comprehend more about the heavens, with the celestial jades, I won't have any worries. However, I can't easily promise her. I must see what her bottom line is." Wang Lin pondered for a bit and shook his head. "I have to take some time to consider this. I'll give fellow cultivator an answer 4 months from now." Yao Shishue's beauty eyebrows furrowed. She already felt like her offer was very good, and that she was extremely sincere. She had already said all that needed to be said and the reward was very good. She even suppressed her temper, because she needed his help. However, this Wang Lin continued to delay this matter, and this made her start to feel impatient. However, without his help, she would have to wait until the ascendant stage before she could break the restriction. Although she wasn't lacking celestial jades, she still had to comprehend the heavens first. Comprehending the heavens could be short or long, no one knew exactly when they would gain enlightenment. Also, she couldn't allow the inhabitants here to know of this place, or it would start a calamity. Thinking about it over and over again, Wang Lin was the most suitable candidate. Seeing Wang Lin's demonic form, when fighting with the demon general made her even more confident that she could break the restriction with his help. Yao Shishua looked at Wang Lin and began to ponder. She began thinking back to what Wang Lin had said before and seemed to somewhat understand his meaning. The 4 months Wang Lin asked for was just his leverage for more reward. She felt a hint of contempt, and her voice naturally became colder as she said, "What more do you want? More celestial jades? Treasures? Spells?" Wang Lin didn't mind her tone and calmly said, "I don't care about treasures or spells. Converting them into more celestial jades would be for the best." The contempt in Yao Shishua's heart became 7 stronger and she said, "My father's blood cave has a lot of celestial jades. I'll give you a token, and once you leave Demon Spirit Land, you can go fetch them yourself." Wang Lin nodded and said, "That is fine, but this matter is very dangerous, so I still need to consider it." Yao Shishua's face suddenly became cold and she coldly asked, "How long do you want to consider for?" Wang Lin calmly said, "About 3 months. You?" Yao Shishua was enraged. She waved her sleeves, causing the door to open, before turning around and walking toward the door. Wang Lin calmly said, "I won't see you off." Yao Shishua had half her foot out of the pagoda when she took a deep breath, clenched her teeth, and touched her bag of holding to take out a wax pill. She looked at Wang Lin with indifference in her eyes and said, "I'll give you this and you will depart with me in 3 days. If you still don't agree, then forget this matter." Wang Lin's eyes narrowed and looked at the wax pill in Yao Shishua's hand. This wax pill looked very ordinary, without anything abnormal about it. However, as he continued to examine it, he saw the rows of fine symbols carved onto the pill. These symbols flickered in a strange frequency that matched Yao Shishua's breathing and heartbeat. Wang Lin asked, in a serious tone, "What is this?" Yao Shishua didn't hide the contempt in her eyes and said, "You don't even know what this is. Well, that is to be expected since you just became the All-Seer's disciple. This is something unique to my father, the Blood Ancestor. It is called the Blood Soul Pill." Blood Soul Pill. This was the first time Wang Lin had heard about this pill, but his expression didn't change at all. He didn't know that if the cultivators back on Tianyun heard this, they would all go crazy. The value of this pill could not be estimated. Yao Shishua coldly said, "This pill is named Blood Soul. It is not meant to be devoured, it's meant for you to leave your origin soul and flesh imprint mark on it and create a connection. Even if your origin soul is destroyed, you can still reincarnate. To be more exact, it can die for you once." Wang Lin's expression finally changed. He waved his right hand, causing the pill to fly out of Yao Shishua's hand and into his. Yao Shishua already knew that Wang Lin would want to inspect it personally, so she didn't stop him and let him take the pill. As she looked at Wang Lin's moved expression, she began to sneer in her heart. Although that was a blood soul pill, it was a failed one. This was something her father created to prevent others from stealing. Although it also contained a drop of blue blood, it contained too many impurities and toxins. Aside from the father and daughter, no one else could tell the difference between the real and fake pills. As a result, there was no need to be afraid of anyone trying to steal them. If one placed their hopes on this failure pill, it meant that they had already thrown away half their life. Wang Lin held the wax pill and immediately noticed the symbols on it. The frequency of the flashes suddenly changed to match his own heartbeat. Clearly the frequency of the flashes depended on who held this pill at the moment. Holding this pill, Wang Lin felt a strong sense of a blood bond. It was like this was part of his body, this feeling was very strong. Wang Lin took a deep breath, Then he raised his head to look at Yao Shishue and said, in a serious tone, "Give me the celestial jades." Without a word, Yao Shishue took out a bag of holding and tossed it at Wang Lin. Then she said, "This is enough celestial jades for you to reach the late stage of soul transformation. I'll give you the rest when we get back. 3 days from now come find me in the ancient mountain at midnight." Wang Lin pondered a bit. After a while, he slowly said, "I will." Yao Shishue let out a smile and left. She wasn't afraid of Wang Lin taking the things and leaving. She didn't care about the celestial jades, and she cared even less about the pill. Wang Lin's gaze was still on Yao Shishue until she was far away. He withdrew his gaze and began to ponder. This woman sure is carefree, not afraid that I would break the promise. However, there must be a reason for her to be so carefree. I guess this woman doesn't care about celestial jades at all. To be able to give away so much at once, I guess her father, the blood ancestor, has a lot of celestial jades. However, this blood soul pill is a bit strange. If this pill is really as she says, there's no way a lot of them exist, so they should be extremely rare. I'm afraid it would be comparable to a real celestial spell. In order to get my help, she is willing to give one away. If I was her and gave it to someone, I would definitely have done something to it. Wang Lin revealed a sneer and muttered, "Yao Shishue, if you weren't so carefree, I would have at most doubted you, but now I'm confident that there is some problem with this blood soul pill." His eyes lit up as he touched his bag of holding and took out an ordinary soul flag. He shook the flag and shouted, "Kao Ido." A black mist quickly came from the soul flag and took the shape of a person. This person was the guide he had found for himself, Kao Ido. The moment Kao Ido appeared, he prostrated on the ground and respectfully said, "Greetings, master." Wang Lin didn't waste any time and asked, "Do you know the blood ancestor?" When Kao Ido heard the name blood ancestor, his expression immediately changed. It took him a long time to recover and he said, "I know that the fame of the blood ancestor is something every cultivator on planet Qianyun knows of. Rumor has it that he has challenged the All-Seer 7 times, and although he lost every time, his cultivation each time was stronger than before. There is also a rumor that he is the 3rd most powerful cultivator on planet Qianyun after the All-Seer and Ling Qianhu. Although this is just a rumor, that just shows how powerful his cultivation really is." Wang Lin pondered for a bit and said, "Have you heard of the blood soul pill?" Blood soul pill. Kao Ido immediately became excited. The level of excitement he showed was even more than when Wang Lin promised him a soul transformation body. "Master, this blood soul pill is something that can be considered one of the top 3 treasures on planet Qianyun. This pill has the ability to steal from the heavens to change one's fate by allowing cultivators to revive from the dead. This pill belongs only to the blood ancestor, no one knows how he got them." Kao Ido was very excited, and his speech became a lot faster. Wang Lin opened his right hand, and in his right hand there was a wax pill giving off a strange flicker. "Do you know what this is?" Kao Ido was startled and took a careful look at the wax pill. After a short while, his expression changed greatly as he muttered to himself, "Wrapped by the wax made from white lizard beast, and has a total of 3,614 symbols engraved on it. It flashes along with the holder's breathing frequency, and gives off a feeling that it is your flesh and blood." "Master, was I right?" Wang Lin's expression was calm as he nodded. Kao Ido suppressed the excitement in his heart and immediately said, "Master, please drop a drop of blood on it." Wang Lin hesitated a bit before biting a fingertip and squeezing a drop of blood on it. The moment the blood fell on the wax pill, there was a flash of blue light. The blue light lasted for 3 breaths of time before disappearing. Flashing symbol on the wax and a blue light, with a drop of blood. "Yes, this is a soul blood pill." As Kao Ido stared at the wax pill, his face was filled with greed. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as he looked at the Kao Ido and slowly asked, "Kao Ido, with your cultivation, was your position in your sect high?" Kao Ido didn't seem to hear Wang Lin at all. Right now the only thing in his eyes was the blood soul pill. This pill was very important to him. He vaguely remembered that if he were to take the pill as a soul, it would allow him to condense a new body. Looking at his appearance, Wang Lin frowned and let out a cold snort. This snort entered Cao Ido's soul, and it was like a bucket of cold water was poured on him, causing him to immediately sober up. After hearing Wang Lin's question, he was startled before he bitterly shook his head. Not high, or else I wouldn't have been sent to planet Suzaku by the corpse sect to possess a body. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he said, if your status isn't high, why do you know so much about the blood soul pill to even know how to differentiate between real and fake? Cao Ido was startled once more and warily smiled. Master, the method to identify the blood soul pill is known by almost everyone on planet Qianyun. It is not a secret. Wang Lin nodded as he waved the flag and called Cao Ido back inside. He looked at the blood soul pill, and his expression became even more gloomy. If this is so precious, why is the method of identifying it so widespread and confirmed as the truth? There must be some ulterior motives behind all of this. Blood ancestor, no wonder he is an old monster who has cultivated for so long. With one easy move, he dissolved the crisis of carrying such a rare treasure. If I were him, I would have done the same. As Wang Lin squeezed the wax pill in his hand, his eyes filled with clarity. For someone of Cao Ido's status to know of this was already strange, and Cao Ido even said that almost every cultivator knew the identification method. As a result, Wang Lin was immediately able to confirm that all of this was a scheme by the blood ancestor. Combining how carefree Yao Shishue was and Cao Ido's answer, I'm sure there is a way to tell the difference between real and fake blood soul pills. However, I'm afraid that aside from the blood ancestor and his daughter, there is not a third person that knows. Wang Lin's eyes shined with the light of wisdom. This pill is fake. If the real pill can let them live once more, then a fake pill will send them to their death. Yao Shishue, since you are so vicious, don't blame me for being ruthless. Wang Lin looked at the wax pill in his hand. He was going to crush it, but he suddenly had an idea and put it away inside his bag of holding. One of the main reasons Wang Lin was able to survive for such a long time and become so powerful was his cunning. Back when he was at the core formation stage, the 8th Extreme Demon Lord One once said that this child was ruthless, bold, decisive and cold. He was also very brave, thoughtful, strong-willed, and as cunning as fox. These words described Wang Lin's true self perfectly. To be able to reach such an answer from one of Yao Shishue's expressions, and Cao Ido's casual words, was something not even most of those cultivators, who lived for thousands of years could do. Only those old monsters, who had cultivated for tens of thousands of years, who had seen through the human heart, could see through it like Wang Lin. It was like how back on planet Suzaku, Wang Lin was able to see through Liu Mai's thousand illusion ruthless domain from the two different personalities of two female disciples. Although the heavens didn't give Wang Lin excellent cultivation talent, his wisdom was honed by time to allow him to obtain cunning far beyond his years. This was all a cause and effect that created a balance in the heavens. Wang Lin waved his hand and the bag of holding Yao Shishue left behind flew into his grasp. He spread out his divine sense and found that the amount of jades was indeed enough for him to reach the late stage of soul transformation like Yao Shishue said. 3 days, Wang Lin took a deep breath, and without a word, he pressed his hand on the ground. There was a flash of black light, as his entire body entered the ground and disappeared. Wang Lin was sitting in the lotus position underground with his eyes closed. He was surrounded by the celestial jades Yao Shishue gave him, and he was absorbing the celestial spiritual energy like crazy, causing the celestial jades to turn into dust. A large amount of celestial jades was required to reach the late stage of soul transformation. Wang Lin didn't rest at all as he concentrated on absorbing the celestial spiritual energy like crazy into his body. He didn't have the time to fuse it into his body, and instead condensed it into something similar to the demon crystal. He had studied the demon crystal for a long time back at the soul refining tribe, so he knew its structure very well. If demonic spiritual energy could be condensed into a crystal, then so could celestial spiritual energy. Earlier, he wasn't willing to waste celestial jades to try, but now that he had enough, he began his attempt. Once a large amount of celestial spiritual energy had accumulated, a change began to occur. After condensing for a long time, a crystal much like the demon crystal formed, but this one gave off celestial spiritual energy, as it slowly appeared inside Wang Lin. The amount of celestial spiritual energy in this celestial crystal was 1/10 of what was in the celestial jades Yao Shishue gave him. The absorption continued. 3 days later, it was another rise of the purple demon. Yao Shishue was standing on the ancient mountain thousands of kilometers from the army camp. Purple light shined on the ground, creating a very demonic atmosphere. Yao Shishue's gaze would occasionally look into the distance and show signs of anxiety. Time is almost here. Could he really have changed his mind? Yao Shishue frowned. Just at this moment, a ray of light suddenly flew toward her directly like a ray of lightning, and Yao Shishue's eyes lit up. The ray of light moved extremely fast. It arrived at the mountain and paused for a moment before landing on the peak to reveal Wang Lin. Wang Lin was wearing white like Yao Shishue, and his hair was flowing in the wind, giving him an elegant look. You sure came right on time. Now I need to open the formation, so that no one else will notice the abnormality here. As Yao Shishue spoke, she slapped her bag of holding and took out several blood-colored statues. None of these statues were big. They were each only about 3 inches tall. All of these carvings were of ferocious beasts that Wang Lin didn't recognize. A blood aura slowly spread out from the statues. Yao Shishue's hand formed a seal and she muttered a chant. Then she bit the tip of her tongue to spit out blood and used it to draw a symbol in the air. She hit the symbol with her palm, causing it to immediately grow big and imprint itself on the ground. At the same time, the statues moved on their own and each took a spot in 7 different positions. Then there was a flash of blood-colored light, and they fused into the ground. The statues fused with the ground, and then a mysterious force surrounded the entire ancient mountain. Wang Lin clearly saw that the symbol was only a catalyst, and that the real power was from the 7 statues. This force was invisible, and if Wang Lin wasn't within 100 feet of it, he wouldn't have noticed it. Wang Lin spread out his divine sense, and was immediately surprised to find that he couldn't see himself with his own divine sense. This was the first time Wang Lin had encountered something like this. The divine sense was like a foreign object that he could control at will, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find himself on the mountain. This was like if a mortal were to look at a mirror only to see everything in it except for their own reflection. Yao Shishue coldly said, "There is no need to check. Unless someone has the cultivation level of a demon general, there is no way to detect it." Wang Lin withdrew his divine sense and admired this formation very much. He asked, "Was this formation created by your father, the blood ancestor?" "That's correct." As Yao Shishue spoke, she touched her bag of holding and a blood-colored compass appeared in her hand. She calculated the position, put it on the ground, turned toward Wang Lin, and said, "Remember our agreement. Once the rise of the purple demon reaches its peak, a ray of blood-colored light will come from the compass. It will only last 1 breath of time, so you must follow closely after me." Wang Lin silently nodded. Yao Shishue pondered and said, "When we return, I'll give you the remaining celestial jades and the blood token. In addition, I'll also give you the correct method to using the blood soul pill." Just as she spoke, the purple light from the moon reached its peak. It was like the heavenly dog swallowing the moon for mortals. The purple light instantly spread out, and the entire earth was covered in his purple light. The sky and earth were filled with purple. At the same time, the compass on the ground released a thick, blood-colored light. Compared to the purple light, the blood-colored light was like a sword breaking through the purple. Although the blood-colored light was small in comparison, it was very tenacious. "Let's go." Yao Shishue let out a shout, as she quickly moved and stepped into the blood-colored light. Wang Lin's eyes became cold as he moved like lightning and quickly followed her. At the moment the two of them entered, the blood-colored light disappeared without a trace along with the compass. The purple light gradually disappeared until it was completely gone. The biannual rise of the purple demon passed by once more. Wang Lin had experienced transfer arrays too many times, and had a very strong resistance to the discomfort. When he entered the blood-colored light, he immediately realized that this was a pinpoint transfer. That means that someone placed a transmission point at the location Yao Shishue was talking about. As long as one can access this transmission point, they can enter that place from anywhere. However, it's obvious that one has to be inside the demon spirit land for the transfer to be successful. After the short discomfort from the transfer array, Wang Lin saw the rapid moving trail of blood under his feet. These blood trails formed a bloody formation. Yao Shishue recovered half a breath later than Wang Lin. When she recovered, the blood trails under their feet had already disappeared. The movement of this bloody formation is similar to the formation created by the statues. They were clearly made by the same person. The blood ancestor is indeed not ordinary to be able to create a transfer array here. However, if given enough time, I can place a transfer array here as well. Wang Lin quietly checked his surroundings. This place was like space, with no difference between the sky and earth. There were only pieces of bright light, and under this light, everything was clearly visible to the eyes. There was a rough, winding path about 10 feet wide that led off into the distance. This was the only path, and it was not fixed, but instead fluttered left and right in a regular pattern. Wang Lin was standing on a platform that was about 1,000 feet wide. The transfer array was secretly carved on this platform. Wang Lin could see that Yao Shishue has come here many times. She sat down in the lotus position on the platform and said to Wang Lin, "Meditate to comprehend your domain. Only by obtaining the qualification mark can one walk on the path of the revered beast." She didn't say more before she closed her eyes and began to cultivate. Wang Lin looked around and walked forward. He stopped before the winding and empty path and looked at it with a serious expression. With one look, Wang Lin's pupils shrank. This wasn't a small path. It was clearly the body of a dragon-like beast that was too large to estimate. Thinking of Yao Shishue's words, this beast was clearly the revered beast. There is no memory of this beast in the memories of ancient god Tu Sai. Unless Tu Sai didn't know of it, then it appeared after him. What place is this to have such a large beast? This place obviously wasn't created out of thin air and was created by someone. Who exactly was so powerful that they could use this beast's body as a path? Wang Lin gasped, then his eyes lit up and he immediately began to ponder. He looked at Yao Shishue and thought to himself, I must think of a way to get all the information about this place from her. He pondered silently for a moment before sitting down in the lotus position. He calmed himself, and just as he was about to dive into his domain, a thought suddenly entered his mind. The rumor is that the entire demon spirit land was the cave of a celestial emperor. Could this place also have been created by the celestial emperor? Wang Lin pondered a bit and looked around. He no longer thought about this as he calmed himself and began to comprehend his domain. The life and death domain had already merged with his body before he entered the demon spirit land. Right now his heart was immersed in his domain. His left hand was death, his right hand was life, and between them was the river of eternity. Although he was immersed in his domain, Wang Lin's vigilance never dropped. He had a bit of his divine sense circling his body, so if Yao Shishue made any moves, he would be able to detect it right away. Wang Lin was very cunning, so he knew that if he could be this vigilant, Yao Shishue would naturally think the same way, meaning it was not a good time to act. While he was cultivating, the image of his life and death domain gradually appeared around him. As he continued to comprehend, he entered an ethereal state and everything around him appeared clearly in his mind. He could vaguely sense a mysterious power falling from the sky and gathering on the platform. This force quietly condensed around Yao Shishue and circled around her. Wang Lin's heart trembled as he immediately focused all his attention on the mysterious power. As the mysterious power circled Yao Shishue, it suddenly moved toward the spot between her eyebrows and condensed there. At this moment, a golden light came from between Yao Shishue's eyebrows. After 3 breaths of time, the golden light dissipated and she opened her eyes. There were golden symbols glowing in each of her pupils. Each of these symbols were composed of 3 strokes. Although they were complex, Wang Lin could somewhat understand them. Now that Yao Shishue's eyes contained the golden symbols, when Wang Lin looked at her, his heart trembled violently. It was like lightning had struck his mind and thunder roared in his heart. He had the same feeling he experienced back when he first met Tuor Senator. At this moment, it was as if Yao Shishua was no longer a late-stage soul transformation cultivator, and had turned into an extremely powerful immortal that he couldn't possibly fight against. This feeling was very powerful. It was like powerful waves crashing against Wang Lin's soul. Not even the All-Seer could make Wang Lin's heart tremble like this. Wang Lin's heart trembled violently, but because his Dao heart was firm, he immediately noticed that something was off. What gave off this majesty wasn't Yao Shishua, but the golden symbols in her eyes. Wang Lin took a deep breath to suppress the trembling in his heart. He no longer paid any attention to her, and instead focused on comprehending his domain. He clearly remembered that she didn't have the symbols before, so it must have a big connection with the mysterious power that had just appeared. Yao Shishua's eyes opened for a moment before she closed them once more and returned to silently cultivating. Wang Lin immersed himself inside the life and death of the reincarnation cycle. Scenes from the past flashed through his mind. Learning about life and death, learning what is life, learning what is death, he opened the scroll of life and death, and finally the domain entered his body. All of this flowed through Wang Lin's heart. After an unknown amount of time, that mysterious power appeared on the platform once more. Yao Shishua suddenly opened her eyes. The golden light from her eyes was dazzling. She looked into the void with a normal expression. The mysterious power quickly appeared and began to circle Wang Lin. At this moment, Wang Lin's mind had reached a mysterious state. It was like he was dreaming. He felt like he had entered a world of hallucinations, as figures flashed by him one by one. He couldn't clearly see anything, but it also seemed like he could clearly see everything. This contradicting feeling made him feel discomfort. There was a low murmur of female or male voices that continued to buzz in his ears as if they were trying to tell him something. But when he tried to listen carefully, he found nothing. This feeling lasted for a very long time, long enough for Wang Lin to forget the concept of time. The sound next to his ears gradually became louder and the figures before him slowly became clearer. Just as everything was about to become clear before his eyes, it all suddenly turned into an illusion and silently began to dissipate. At this moment, Wang Lin seized the opportunity right when everything was at this state of becoming clear and about to dissipate. His eyes lit up and the only life seal from the celestial slaughter art immediately condensed on his forehead. "My name is Qing Lin." A clear voice instantly appeared next to his ears, but this voice only lasted for a moment before vanishing. Wang Lin seized the right opportunity. If he had used the life seal too early, he would never have heard this voice. He was only able to hear this because he had used the life seal right at the moment. Instead of looking, he chose to listen, because a voice could convey more real information, while sight was often obstructed by one's own thoughts. At the moment all of this disappeared, Wang Lin opened his eyes as if he had awakened from a dream. There was now a violent golden light shining from his eyes. The golden light lasted for 6 breaths of time before dissipating. At this moment, golden symbols appeared in his eyes. These symbols were made up of 6 strokes and looked extremely complicated. Yao Shishua's expression was ugly. She didn't think Wang Lin would obtain a 6-stroke symbol during his comprehension. At the moment Wang Lin opened his eyes, he looked at Yao Shishua and immediately found that although she still had the symbols, the powerful majesty that he couldn't resist no longer existed. For some reason, a feeling of looking down upon her appeared in his heart. This gaze from Wang Lin made Yao Shishua extremely uncomfortable, so she subconsciously looked away. She coldly said, "With the golden symbols, you can now walk on the revered dragon path. Let's go." With that, she stepped onto the dragon path and quickly moved ahead. Even she hadn't realized that the golden symbols in her eyes had dimmed when she looked at Wang Lin. It was as if a firefly had met the moon, although both were bright, when compared to each other, the firefly was naturally dimmer. Wang Lin placed his hand before his eyes. When his eyes looked at his palm, a clear symbol was projected on it. What exactly is this golden symbol? Wang Lin pondered as he walked up to the revered dragon path and slowly walked forward. It was an endless, starry abyss below the dragon path. Although it was uncertain whether you would live or die if you fell, just the thought of falling was enough to scare people. The dragon road slowly moved left and right. If a mortal was on the path, they would be scared to death, but for cultivators, this had no effect on them. The two of them moved one after the other at an extremely quick speed as they followed the path into the distance. This path seemed to have no end. The two of them hadn't rested for 3 days, but the road before them continued to extend. Yao Shishue's expression was normal. She came here many times already, so she knew that they had only traveled 1/3 of the way there. Several days later, another giant platform appeared before the revered dragon path. There was an object standing on the platform. This object was a statue about 30 feet high, and it stood at the center of the platform. This statue was that of a human, but he had extremely large ears and arms. Yao Shishue stopped walking on the dragon path, looked back at Wang Lin not far behind her, and said, "This place is the first seal. The two of us will each break a layer. I'll break the first layer and you will break the second one." Wang Lin's expression was normal as he calmly said, "Okay." Yao Shishue didn't waste any more words. She jumped into the air and charged onto the platform like lightning. At the moment her body landed on the platform, a golden light automatically released from her eyes. This golden light contained the golden symbols, and it landed on the platform along with her. The statue trembled and white gas came out from it. Then it suddenly opened its eyes, revealing a ruthless gaze. It raised its feet and took a step that caused the entire platform to tremble. A thick killing intent immediately spread out with that step. Yao Shishue floated in the air. She has dealt with this statue several times now, so she was very familiar with it. She touched her bag of holding with her right hand and took out a piece of jade. This jade was blood red in color, and was clearly different from a normal jade. Seal. With one word, Yao Shishue threw out the jade. The jade shattered in the air and turned into a dense, blood-colored light that covered the statue in a flash. The blood-colored light surrounded the statue, making it look like a blood-colored cloth had been thrown over it and imprisoned it. No matter how hard it struggled, it couldn't break through the blood seal. Yao Shishue's beautiful figure slowly landed on the ground. She turned around to look at Wang Lin before turning toward the other end of the platform. There was another revered dragon path at the other side of the platform. Wang Lin's pupils shrank. The cultivation of this statue wasn't any weaker than an early-stage soul transformation cultivator. Although it lacked intelligence, the power of that step was very strong. If one allowed it to use a spell or move freely, it definitely wouldn't be easy to deal with. However, a few moments ago, it was so easily sealed by Yao Shishue. This made Wang Lin have a completely new opinion about her. Wang Lin secretly thought that blood jade must have been refined by her father to have such power. He didn't show any of his thoughts on his face as he jumped onto the platform. At the moment he walked past the statue covered by the blood-colored light, he turned toward it and seemed to see a flash of golden light disappear. Wang Lin's expression didn't reveal anything as he stepped onto the next dragon path. When he stepped onto the path, he turned around to casually look at the statue, and at the moment he turned around, the life seal on his forehead condensed on his eyes. His gaze pierced through the blood-colored light, and saw the flashing symbol on the statue. This symbol only had one stroke.